Alrighty, we're back again. Well, welcome everybody. We're now firmly and squarely in the new year. I've been a little bit more distant, well, as I said last year, as I said at the beginning of the year. It's more about being a little bit more distant at the moment, so that's referring to the process that's been happening over the 8-9 years, and it's effectively letting people just simply get on with things. It seems what we was talking about at the beginning of the year has begun to take effect. It has. Stuff with the homelessness, technologies, recognition of various military activities, what's going on within the international fields, even some stuff beyond that. With Brexit still taking pole position and its impact or repercussions here, there and everywhere, and it's still, well, getting salty at the end of the day. I think it's best for me to say that, based on all the information that I've been seeing or receiving and putting out, is that it's a lot of overinflated hoo-ha, and it is Brexiteers, Remainers, or Remoaners as some people keep calling them. I actually think that it will pan out for the better. It will pan out better for us as well as it will the European Union. A lot of it is down to the bone of contention. A lot of it is based around the bones of contention, such as border controls, laws. It's about making decisions for ourselves. It's about having the ability to navigate our own future, or in this case, maybe being a part in the middle. It's about the UK being able to determine its own fate in that regard, but not wanting to isolate themselves away from anybody else. So I think what will benefit us will benefit the European Union. So whatever we're able to work out, as is with the actual Commonwealth, as is with the agreement of the Commonwealth being a part of, or being able to trade through us, indirectly through us, with the European Union as part of our membership, that in itself is still going to be pretty much the same, isn't it, really? Kid yourselves not. The European Union have taken a hard stand themselves. Of course they have, of course they will. They want to defend the project. It's simple, it's fact, it's there, it's evident. Right? The Remainers, no, not Remoaners, Remainers have unfortunately, I say unfortunately, have within themselves become accustomed to being part of a European Union. They have no, shall we say, understanding or appreciation or foresight, as we were saying before about learning foresight, about a future beyond what they've become accustomed to. So whether they're liberal, whether they're green or whatever, they're more conservative than what they think, which is the old conservatism is in about maintaining the status quo. And 9 times out of 10 maintaining the status quo is more about not understanding what could happen, or rather the fear of the unknown. Therefore, people will go to the extent of defending that. Those who wish to leave, yes, there's going to be those within the camp, as some people call it, of that carry that bone of contention towards the detailing. The other encampment will be those who have that bit more foresight and well, we no longer want to be part of you. We've moved beyond the detailing now. We're looking to the future. We can deal with this. We can do it. We've done it up until the point of joining the European Union. the essence of maintaining the status quo, if the European Union hadn't have changed the model and hadn't have gone to the extremes that they had in the terms of causing much more damage, or causing any more damage than what we committed beforehand, then perhaps that status quo may never have been broken. See, there's loads of variables. I believe scientists call it the entropy. And it is, or it's the variables between one point and the other point, and the final point, or a point in time, the point which you wish to achieve. So naturally speaking, there are going to be variable grades of change. Right? So, no matter of speaking, it's actually par for course, and people just simply have to accept that. Yes, there's going to be certain changes. Yes, it's going to be a bit of a strain to begin with, but that doesn't mean that it will be any less profitable. That is down to then sound politics and sound economics, or politis in some shades of understanding. It's political economics. Yeah. When exploring all of this, which includes various leadership methods, their ability to see what is going on, engage with what's going on, a sense of foresight. I say a sense of foresight because, again, you've got your varying grades, leadership styles, methods, interpretations. It's whether it be political, whether it be military, be economic or societal. Yeah, life in itself is going to pan out in many different ways. It is questionable. But then if you see the sound reasoning within all of this, it's not really that bad, is it? See, if you keep working at it, like for instance, America, they've created themselves a little bubble again. It's about them, right? Not really that much of a bad thing, is it? Like, granted, there have been some controversial matters come out of it all, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, because if it's done right, it's not going to be a great issue, is there? Because what will benefit them will in turn benefit another. Yeah? The same with, let's say, Russia, for instance, in the terms of leadership, in the terms of economic styling, progression, societal modelling within themselves, cultural modelling. In essence, they're still trying to find their place in the bigger picture. Although they've got their place, don't get me wrong. Culture mindset, the way they want to work things and allow their lifestyles to pan out and so on and so forth. Integrating with the rest of the world, finding their position within the rest of the world, where they stand. Yeah. The same with Africa. I'm beginning to see more of a call in that direction, and I think I will start to focus my attention more that way once this is over with. Oh well, I think they do need a helping hand. I don't mean in the terms of this process. This has got nothing to do with it. There's a lot to be desired for what they've got to offer themselves, and basically be able to build up for themselves and their part within all of this. Then there's China and there's Australia with what's going on with their energy. See, when you start looking at all of this, there is a comparison with it all, and the comparable likenesses within them all. Everybody's trying to pit for a position somewhere, and somewhere, and somehow. And I think a lot of the time that this perspective, the ideologies, the political economics, the size of it, the style of it all and everything, it can blindside people. Yeah? Which acts as back, at the same token, is that protectionism, ensuring that an idea in itself works. By the time we're finished, if you look, what I'm doing is it's like mind mapping. When I talk about one thing, something else comes up, and I'm trying to kind of like control that, because I am seeing something unfolding, and I'm trying to give you the best of both worlds, which is both now and kind of like future prospects. Because it's like now, for instance, within all of these arguments and within all of the funding to be able to make projects work and whatnot, it is creating a future prospect, or a view of the future. I'm trying in some ways to explain to you what you shouldn't do, or ideally shouldn't do, without sounding like too autonomous or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, each one of you, and I'll reiterate what I said before, each one of these continents does hold a piece of the puzzle for the future, and without one of those pieces, unless it's through natural consolidation or agreed consolidation and so on and so forth, then I don't actually think there's going to be a fuller level of future than what you would think there would be. Yeah? Example: the European Union as we know it, right, as from the UK's point of view, working with the European Union and working on innovations and so on and so forth, putting aside all this Brexit malarkey and they'll remain or leave and so on and so forth, putting that aside, looking simply at the relationship, the partnership and the cohesion between two entities, working on projects, and you've got the CERN and you've got the LHC and all the rest of it, then looking at the bigger picture, and you've got Australia comes into it, the power problems, and there's some of Central Asia, and there's Africa and whatnot. See, things like that in itself is creating a strand of the future. Energy creation, and if it's not energy creation, it's energy storage and distribution. Yeah. You look across in America, the land mass and people having to travel backwards and forwards, and how long it takes, the fuel consumption, the cost to the businesses to be able to transport goods, and so on and so on and so forth. It's creating electrical vehicles, which in turn will reduce costs, which in turn creates a return back to society. It should, in theory, return back to society. At the moment, it's creating a wider profit margin. What happens with that is another thing, isn't it? See, that in itself is another strand. So we've got one strand which is energy storage and distribution. We've got technological advancement to be able to reduce cost margins and environmental impacts. And another strand is basically, well, I should say a strand is environmental impacts. The other strand is basically increased profit margins, and then off of that you've also got return on investment back to society, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So I'm hoping you can see what's going on now. I'm being a bit more specific now. It's a little bit different because I'm trying to show you a way of being able to work this out. So everything I've showed you so far, everything we've spoken about so far, be it indirect, a little bit like cryptic and whatnot, your brain's gearing up. It's looking at the more complex of things, and now we're looking at showing you how this lot works. Yeah. It will come in other specific videos, like when I look at technology, for instance, quantum cryptography, artificial intelligence, then we've got quantum computing. Right? When you start taking all of them bits of information, solar power, what it does is when you lay it out on an even platter, you begin to be able to see, maybe it's just me at the moment, I'm pretty certain there's many other people out there like myself, but we build up like a virtual image in our minds of the way things currently are, and then we take on board bits of information and start shaping that landscape. Yeah? And it gives us an idea as to how things are actually going to pan out. I wouldn't say it's fact per se, but it's as close to the truth as possible. Hence the reason why a lot of the predictions have panned out right. Turned out right. Yeah? So that's where the standpoint we are. Looking at the European Union and this relationship, or its fractured relationship at the moment, I don't think anybody should really be concerning themselves too much. It should realistically be, or maintain, business as usual. Right, there may be a slight increase in one or two marginal costs within the margin, and they are very small. By the time you've finished and the wants to trade more and work out trades more, you'll find that then costs will eventually be offset. Yeah? Globalization of economies already exists, so once you've woken up to all of that, and those who are on the Remainer side who seem to have forgotten about that, you'll feel the benefits of it, and those who are on the Leave side, you'll begin to see the value of partnerships, yeah, and how they can in fact benefit more than one side. So there's something in this for everybody. The ability to be able to pair up and detach and do it peacefully, amicably. Yeah? There's always going to be a struggle. Yeah? There could be another decade of all of this still yet to come. Who knows? I could work it out, but then should I? You know? Who knows? The biggest thing of all of this is just be patient. Work through it. An answer will emerge. Be forgiving. Practice a sense of forgiveness. I think in some ways people would then bring up, shall we say, the peninsula of Korea. People are not going to be so forgiving towards North Korea, but I think it would probably be different if, let's say, Kim Jong-un wasn't the actual leader. Yeah? If it was a different type of leader, as we were saying about leadership styles, methods and approaches and whatnot, if it was a different leader, would it matter that they're developing nuclear energy? But there would still be the programs there, wouldn't there? So even people like the leader, the North Korean leader, has to accept the fact that we've all, even the United Kingdom, even America, even Russia, we've all kind of like shoulder kind of like nudged each other about being careful with these things. It is so easy to click the button. Fair enough, there are past political turbulences that have caused a rift between certain countries. Again, it's about working it out. Remember what I was saying to you in the New Year one about relationships, about understanding each other, about the yin yang side of it all. Yeah, there's always two sides to the coin. Understanding what the other person is going through. Fair enough, it should be required, even consciously or unconsciously, or by the North Korean leader. They should be really talking with people more. Stop being such the recluse. Yeah? By talking with other nations, it's not giving up any power. It's not about being weak. It's about sharing a vision and how best to go about it without upsetting the apple cart. But working with deviant attitudes and tactics is not going to help their case. We've seen it through the Central Asia, how things were going on. It doesn't matter whether it's something that was triggered off by the West, the fact that it actually existed to begin with. Yeah? And it's how you work through that. Now, fair enough, if you want to talk about past blames, yes, you need to dig up all the information, all the evidence, and so on and so forth, and present it in such a fashion where it becomes valid. Hence the reason why I was talking about trades and treaties, why some people have turned around and said, oh, no, don't take it to court because all this could go, pear-shaped for a lot of people. It could be blown out of context. It could put me into the limelight. Some part of it is, I don't want it. I'm quite happy doing this, living my own life without being pressured. But then at the same token, I know that there's an air of necessity about it all. It's not about who do I think I am, who do I know I am, it's about knowing that some things need to happen. Yeah? How did the UN come about? Yeah? How did each, starting from the beginning, how did each nation come around? How did leaderships come around? How did your NATO and then the UN and various other international the world trade, how did it come about? It takes one person. Just takes one person to create an idea, and then it cascades from there, snowballs from there. Yeah? In this case, it makes sense. The utilitarian Democrats, on a much larger scale, it makes sense. Whether I'm the right person to take it beyond all of that, well, it's another thing, isn't it? We'll see about that when we get there. Much the same as UKIP and, Nigel Farage, whether he wants to continue with it or not. It's his choice, whether he believes the right one to do it or not. Yeah. But again, you're beginning to see now what I was talking about at the beginning of the year. These things do need to happen. These things, this year is going to be the year that really does test things. Test people. Test your understanding of things. Test your relationships, your ability to resolve an issue both peacefully and amicably. To be able to then, it will invariably show, if not just this year, maybe next, up to 2020, we use 2020 is like having 2020 clear as vision. Come 2020, you'll have a relatively good idea how this little ball of water and earth, this little marble of ours, will present itself. You've got Mars exploration. When we look at space exploration, you've got Mars still on the cards. People expert and wanting to explore further. New rockets, things like that. Now, where have you gone? There you are. There, look. Space exploration. NASA and Elon Musk. Virtual tour to the edge of the known universe. American plan to bring Russia in from the cold with the Star Wars project. See that there? There's one thing there. So it's bringing people in. Yeah, finding common ground. It's working out and talking through, talking through and working out problems together, mutually. So there's a mutual outcome. Alright? But again, by 2020, to give you a general idea as to whether this is going to be possible, whether you're going to continue to bicker amongst each other, or whether space exploration could be a joint venture by all. Are you going to start pointing nuclear missiles and weapons and whatnot at the skies? Just talk alien for a moment, because apparently there's more than one alien, isn't there? There's the Greys and there's the other ones, the reptilians. Well, let's say we've got aliens on our side and there's aliens against us. Are we going to point our weapons at the skies, or are we going to keep pointing them at each other? Right? So there's a lot. There is a lot. Much can be said for what's going on at the moment. It's all par for course. It is. So we can do it. You're already beginning to see it. I know, for one, that kind of the American President Trump at the moment's intentions were already being known as to what he was planning on doing anyway, prior, and to build up interest and whatnot, based on a film I was watching the other day. When somebody invests into a film, they get their name actually, or they're asked if they can have their name repeated so many times, or the creators say, well, we'll repeat your business name or name X amount of times throughout the film. So again, a lot of it is certainly not by accident, it's by design. By design, I would like to think that we can make this work. I'd like to think that North Korea and South Korea can finally resolve their issues. And North Korea can swallow their pride. Yes, they do suffer from pride. You can't tell me otherwise, I'm sorry to say. Swallow their pride and work with the rest of the world. Same with the European Union and the United Kingdom. They can resolve their differences. In separating words, they can find an amicable resolve. Very simple. Yeah, sometimes it is easier said than done, but I think in this case, I think it's easier done. It's equally as easy done as it is said. I think a lot of this is pomp and posture. I think a lot of this is just simply trying to protect pride, not wishing to accept failure. But we can make this work. Maybe you can, but it's not working. You do it this way, is it? At the end of the day, there is an answer to most all questions, or all questions, and there is a solution to all problems. Question is, are you prepared to work together well enough to achieve it? Yeah? Well, beyond politics, I hope you're all good. I hope things are working out for you. I hope those who are wishfully thinking, or hoping that things could pan out better for them, if you're on the homeless side of things, or on the repercussion ends of negative economics, I do hope that things will turn around for you. Keep working at it. You can do it. For everything else, when it comes down to war, military activity, yeah, you'll see where I get most of my opinions from when it comes down to the arguments. Yeah, and people's loyalties and so on and so forth. Like I said before about in my mapping, you can see how things are panning out. At the moment, it's a little bit rough around the edges. There's positive in there as well as negative, but you're getting there. And by 2020, I'm reckoning we will begin to see what a good portion of the future looks like. Very well. Just be mindful about the AI side of things. Don't go too far with it. Yes, I know people at the MIT and various other establishments really want to see their work come to life. Yeah, there's more to it than just us, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. I've heard all the stories before. But just remember, right, sometimes you can take things too far. Yeah? Some things you're only supposed to go so far with, because if you take it too far, it could in fact curb the learning curve. It could have what you would believe would be a positive impact, could indeed turn out to be a negative one. Yeah? Oh yes, I know it's interpretation of data and yada 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 yada, the rest of that goes with it. Trust me, you're not that clever. Right? Think about it. Yeah? Right. According to my clock now, there's 30 minutes clocking up. I've waffled on for a little bit now. And you're beginning to see now, I've given you bits of information how to, for those who are more interested in this side of things, how to look or work or otherwise figure out how foresight works. Yeah, where I'm coming from with all of this. Yeah. Now you've had a good few years of me giving you bits of information, being a bit cryptic and whatnot, seeing how things are panning out. Yeah. So there you go. You don't need to be a statistician or a politician or a scientist to be able to do it. You can do it. Right? You can do it in your personal life, in society, in politics, economics, wherever. Yeah? As long as you do it right and keep other people in mind, it will all pan out very nicely. Right, you enjoy the rest of your day. I will be back when nature starts poking me in the side again, saying, right, it's time for you to say something again. I'll be back then. Right? Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. I'll be back soon.